Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, and Jesus fucking Christ, Marjorie Taylor fucking Greene. Um, the View was talking this morning about the hearings that were going on at the House yesterday about trying to get to the origin of the uh, COVID pandemic, and I, I I don't understand why lawmakers are think that they can get to the source of an infectious disease outbreak if scientists haven't been able to do it definitively. Um, that that just seems like a giant waste of legislative time. Um, but it did provide another opportunity for Marjorie Taylor Greene to embarrass herself. The GOP should be absolutely horrified by her, but they have no shame, so they love her. Um, I get that they use these opportunities to sort of grandstand, and it really isn't asking anybody any questions. It's really about trying to get their own agenda across. But I'm sorry, Ms. Greene, you don't get to remove someone's doctorate degree just because you don't agree with them. Um, and it would have been fine if she had been referring to him as Mr. Fauci instead of Dr. Fauci, if she hadn't made such a big fucking, junior high deal out of it. You're not a doctor in my few minutes. Well, he's a doctor all the time, Marjorie. Um, you know, it's not quite as uh, I mean, this isn't quite as stupid, but it's like when people say today is my Friday. No, it's not. You might have the day off tomorrow, but it's still Wednesday or whatever day it is that week, Karen. You don't get to change the day of the week just because you have a day off the next day. And Marjorie, you don't get to just decide what degrees people can have um, based on whether or not you like them. Um, God, she's just ridiculous. And um, it was nice to see Melissa Fairfarley Griffin be like, hey, if you have a problem with the COVID response, you can blame Trump. That's where the blame lies. Thank you, lady, because no one seems to want to attribute anything to Trump except low unemployment, which is a lie, and lower gas prices, which the president really doesn't set. So um, I don't know. It just this seeing uh, our government so fucking um, dysfunctional um, is really disheartening. Like, there's a lot of things that they should be doing and concentrating on that would help people rather than just throwing insults at people like a national treasure like Dr. Fauci. Um, and this whole idea they just keep throwing out this non-scientific bullshit um, just to try to justify themselves furthering and worsening um, the pandemic when we didn't have any way to protect ourselves from it. They're exhausting. Um, but what's really upsetting is that this really costs Fauci a lot personally and his family. Talking about the amount of security he needs to have and the death threats that have come after him. And if you watch the clips, there's a guy sitting behind him making stupid faces, like when Fauci's talking about death threats and threats to his daughters, and the guy's going, mm-hmm. That piece of shit was a January 6th rioter who already served time in prison and is out. Like, why is he even allowed back at the Capitol? Isn't there like a no-fly list for those people? They can't come back into the people's house once you threw shit on the walls of it. That's fucking terrifying that they're just still showing up and being like, I'm gonna go intimidate more people. Fuck me. Um, so that fucking sucks. Uh, and the Hunter Biden trial. Um, this There is actually a case to be made that this is a little bit of a political witch hunt. As Sonny explained, this is almost never prosecuted ever. And he had a plea deal for it months ago, which was kiboshed. Who knows why? Um, I think in an effort to do this, to have this, because they want this to be sort of embarrassing, and the Bidens are not going to let it be embarrassing. They're going to let uh, you know the justice system work its process, and then deal with the consequences of whatever that process is. Unlike the Republican Party, which can't accept consequences for anything. Um, so I don't necessarily agree that this is what should be happening. It just is what happening, and so as Democrats usually do, we're like, okay, well, we'll work through this, um, instead of screaming, "It's all rigged." But it is funny. I mean, the fact that um, Trump says Biden is poisoning the justice system against him, but apparently Biden doesn't have the power to get his son out of this deal. And Trump says, as president, you should have blanket immunity to do whatever you want. So if that were true, then Joe Biden could be doing whatever he wants to you under your own rules. So I, I don't know. It hurts too hard to try to figure out the the circular thought process of those fucking maggots. Um, and um, Michael Richards looked wildly uncomfortable. And I feel like after nearly 20 years, he should probably have a more cohesive answer to the question about what went wrong on stage that night. Um, that was lackluster, and it does seem like he doesn't really have a cognitive separation between who he is and who Kramer is, except that no one's giving him lines to say. Um, so it's I just thought, wow, I hope you're still in therapy, because I think you need it. Um, yeah. Oh, and happy Pride Month.